Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, Kauran Bauchi, Kauran Dole Islandia, Senator Bala Abdul Mohammed, the SSG of Bauchi State, Chief Economic Advisor, my colleagues, the commissioners, the MD of REA, Alhaji Abba Aliu, who is my brother, Ganduje, the ED, and the other EDs. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to this memorable roundtable meeting. At the instance of the, as the instance of the governor, we're all here, and the MD, and I hope all of us will sit down, look at what we're here for, and have a very robust conversation and feedbacks so that Bauchi State can have what it is here for. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner, for that very smart welcome address. I would like to, before we move along, I would like to quickly recognize the presence of Alhaji Hamza Koshe, the immediate past chairman, PDP, Bauchi State. Dr. Ima Agu, the media consultant to the governor, as well as Alhaji Lawan Mwazu, the SSA on new media for Bauchi State. Also, we have Dr. Muritala Abubakar, the physician to the governor, Rilwan Toro, the SA on photography, Maman Babayo, the liaison officer, Abuja. Thanks so much for joining us. Quickly moving along, we'll be having the tone setting from Dr. Abba Aliu, the MD, CEO, REA.
Your Excellency, my brother, I normally have a tradition, Your Excellency. Whenever we have a round table, once I recognize His Excellency, any other person should just be under the Excellency's protocol. So, Your Excellency, I have recognized you, which means by extension, I have recognized any other person here. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, before I start my presentation, I want to put on record 2 or 3 things that has happened. The first, Your Excellency, is your tenacity. And I want to warn any other person, don't ever have a discussion with His Excellency. Once he picked something and he's interested in that thing, he will pursue that thing to a logical conclusion. Your Excellency, this roundtable is a clear example. When we had the discussion and we spoke about the roundtable, and you said that, oh, we should have the Bauchi roundtable, and we say no, we have already scheduled another state. Your Excellency, you literally bulldoze your way to make sure that Bauchi is scheduled. Secondly, Your Excellency, is your humility, and this is on record. From the bottom of my heart, I've seen how humble you are. We met on about 2 or 3 occasions, Your Excellency, and you are the first executive governor that came to REA to visit us. Your Excellency, thank you for this. Literally, the people of Bauchi are really lucky to have you as the governor of the state. Your Excellency, basically, at a risk of still putting pressure on myself and the executive directors, Your Excellency, I want to say something again. But this time around, Your Excellency, don't pursue me. The executive directors should be the people that you should track, and I will give you their numbers. One of them, Your Excellency, has 750 million in his pocket. The other has close to 170 billion. So they have plenty money. I'm the one, myself is just to do the talking. So they are the people with the money, and I will give you their numbers. Whether they sleep or not is their own problem, Your Excellency. So what I want to say, Your Excellency, is that in the implementation of some of the project that we have started under the DES project, we are tracking to see how many projects per state. And Bauchi State is not doing bad even before this roundtable. So the essence of this roundtable is to give you the opportunity to unleash Bauchi State to the private sector that are here. Most of the people you have seen here, Your Excellency, are people that are running renewable energy service companies, and they have mobilized funding over $2 billion US, and they have built over 500 mini grid across the country. So we want, at the end of this, to tell them that they should come and take the money from the guy with the 750 and the other one was 170 billion and move everything to Bauchi State. I don't have a problem, Your Excellency, with that. But at the current, there are 22 projects that are ongoing in Bauchi State. But Your Excellency, some states have 80. So we need to bridge that gap. And how we bridge that gap, Your Excellency, is by giving you the numbers of the people with the money. Your Excellency, what we have here is one of the projects that we deployed, and this is a project in Adamawa State, neighboring your state, in the University of Yola, Modibo Adamawa University in Yola State. This is a 5 megawatt powering the entire university, staff quarters, admin block, and this is just one bit of some of the projects that we are implementing, and we'll get to show you more and more as we proceed. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, the Electricity Act that was signed by Mr. President changed the entire dynamics of the power sector. And that is why we're having this engagement. It has given the state the power to build and develop their own electricity market, which means that electricity now is in the hands of the subnational. They have the liberty to participate in the entire electricity value chain. Not only even the subnational, Your Excellency, if you read the act, even the local governments have a role to play in the development of the electricity market. And that is why we are engaging with the state towards that. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, to help the states in positioning themselves and taking advantage of the act, that is why we developed the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan. Your Excellency, this map that you are seeing, as simple as it is, this is an over $1 million work that we have done, and there are layers and layers of data behind the map. What you are saying here, Your Excellency, is a planning of how best can we utilize our limited public resources in addressing the electricity access challenge. Wherever you see the red dots, these are areas, Your Excellency, that can best be served by providing mini grids. And where you see green, these are unelectrified communities that should best be served by either a mesh grid or deployment of solar home system. And where you see yellow, these are the communities that should best be served by extending the grid, moving and putting the transformer. So we developed this plan to make sure that people, government are aware of the most economically viable means of electrifying the communities in the country. And there are dots that you see, ash dots somewhere. Those are the electrified communities. And based on the estimate that we have identified, Your Excellency, we have 22 million homes that we need to electrify, and the total cost required to bridge the access gap is about $23 billion US, of which 45% of them should go to solar home system, while 24 should go to mini grid, and 31%, 24 to grid extension, and 31% by building mini-grid. So this data, Your Excellency, map the entire country, and we will show you. We'll show you down to the state level, we'll show you down to local government level, we'll show you down to community level. And Your Excellency, I have a technical assistant who mined the data. And if the Commissioner of Science and Technology is not lucky, that guy would zoom down to his house and we will show him his house from this place, Your Excellency. Next slide. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, apart from that, this map shows the entire mapping of the distribution network. This is the 11 kV, 33 and 11 kV, low and medium voltage lines across the country. We had the consultant that we use and the support partners had challenge was going to the northeast. That is why you see some part of the northeast not covered. But now the work had already been done. We have mapped the entire. So we know how the distribution lines are within the state, within the each state, including the Bauchi state. Next slide. So this is zooming Bauchi state. Because as in the previous slide, you will see as if all the state is covered with the distribution line. It's because we narrowed it. But when you zoom, you will now see this community, and the slide is not too clear. You will be seeing the green dots. These are all communities. And you will see the yellow and the red. These are all the communities where we should put solar home system or the mini grid or extend the grid. But it's much clearer in the software that we have, which we would hand over to the state once the state creates its own electricity market. Next slide. This is showing you starting to narrow it to the community. I don't know whose community is this in the Bauchi state. Your Excellency, the team, my team there, the one trying to put me in trouble. They narrowed down to the His Excellency's community in Bauchi state. But next slide. So, Your Excellency, next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide. So, Your Excellency, just as a summary, what we found out is that over 1.5 million can be powered in Bauchi state using the solar home system, mini grids, or extending the grid. And we also identify 1,249 off-grid educational facilities that can best be served. And in one of the presentations that will come after my presentation, you will see the plan that we have empowering health, education, transport, and the rural communities. We also have seen 4,293 off-grid communities that are viable, that the rescuers here can easily move and go and take on these communities. And you see, Your Excellency, the good part of this is that you can power these communities without spending one penny of your state resources, because we already have the funding to catalyze this private sector financing. And that is why all we want is to assure this rescuers, the private sector, the enabling environment created within Bauchi, so that they will come and take all this money and go to Bauchi. Let them create all their headquarters in Bauchi. We don't mind that, Your Excellency. So we also have seen about 500,000 connections that we can create, which means about 500,000 houses, which is substantial that we can achieve. Next slide. The next slide, Your Excellency, will show you local government by local government. So now we are drilling down from the state to the local government. This is showing you the local governments within the state that are without the electricity based on the access availability. So Toro local government is your local government with the highest number of communities that are without electricity, followed by Ganjua, then even Bauchi. This is surprising, Your Excellency. Tafa Balewa down to Bajoga. This is based on the number of communities that we can pick with this access. Next slide. So you can, Your Excellency, now we even move from the local government, we are now narrowing it down to the communities to see the efficacy of our data. This is a Guaram community in Alekaleri. We have the data. This is the community. Where you see purple, these are small houses, and you will see some green big houses. If there is educational institution, you can see a red cycle in the middle. That's a hospital. If there's education, it will also show. And even our data, Your Excellency, will give you the total number of houses within that community. What is the nature of the people, occupation? It will even give you some socio-economic indicators. What is the purchasing power of the people within the community? If there's any security incident, our data will show what kind of incident that has happened, so that the private sector have all this vast data to enable them to make decision making in the state. Next slide. This is still drilling to show you different communities within the local government. This is Kirfi local government, a community called Shongo. Next slide. Gangai, also in Katagum, shows you the community. This is a vast community with a lot of houses all over, and the kind of mini grid, the technical requirement of the mini grid that requires to be deployed to power this is all captured in our data set. Next slide. Next slide. So this is another community. Next slide. Your Excellency, one of the things in conclusion is saying that what would be the impact of our intervention? How would it change the fortunes? We know that power is catalyst for socio-economic development. We know that power helps to power small, medium, micro enterprises. Without electricity, there won't be quality of education, health, and businesses within the state. In aggregate, being an agrarian society with a lot of small and medium enterprise potential in the state, Your Excellency, if we are to bridge the electricity access gap in that state, Your Excellency, we are expecting an increase of about 35 billion US dollars within the economy of the state. And this is based on the factual, based on lands that we think can be improved, based on enhanced in the processing and production in agriculture, and catalyzing minimum and small medium enterprises within the state. And at the same time, we see a potential of 370 new jobs directly that can be created. There are so much opportunities in creating job opportunities within the state. And Your Excellency, what we have seen done by the Adamawa State Governor, it's also taking advantage of this framework and creating a massive framework of training, a technical training of the youth within the state, so that if we build a mini grid in in Bauchi state, and it's faulty, we don't have to move someone from Kano to come and fix it. There are technical staff trained within the state that can take advantage of this opportunity, because injecting more money, each mini grid, Your Excellency, brings in money into the state, and that money should catalyze job opportunities. And if we don't take advantage of it within the state, some other state will take advantage of it, train it, and move their youth to the state to fix it. So, Your Excellency, this is the end of my presentation, and it is my sincere hope, being the fact that you are my brother and somebody very humble that we really want to work with, it is my expectation that after this, we will increase that 22 number of projects in Bauchi State to over 100. And Your Excellency, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, I will give you the phone numbers of the people with the money so that you will chase them. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much, MD REA. Your Excellency, sir, I would like to quickly invite the Executive Director, Rural Electrification Fund, Honorable Doris Ubo, for her presentation.
Good afternoon, all. Your Excellency, my leader, my brother, Executive Governor of Bauchi State, who was our leader of progressive National Assembly members in 2007. It's nice to see you again. It's been a while. My capacity MD, members from Bauchi State, permit me to stand on already established protocol. I apologize for coming late. I'm running from another program where we had an engagement with all commissioners from the Federation discussing technicalities and way forward for the project I'm about to present. So as the tone setting of my MD, I will try to cut through the chase and make it short, especially since I'm not really too well today. Unfortunately, it came on a day that I'm already tired, Excellency. Like I said, he has set the tone for my presentation, talking about funding and the EA Act of 2023 and the powers that REA derives from it to do what we're doing. So I'm just going to fast forward to alignment with regulatory commission, NEC, and also what we do in de-risking the rural communities to make it viable, commercially viable, for some of the projects that REA is doing, especially the state matching program that we're doing with the states where federal government through REA partners with state governments to bring access to energy to the rural communities. Next slide. So we've done some projects that have served as our pilot projects across. We have done over 124 mini grids, over 16 megawatts, done solar home systems in all the states with over 25,000, and also created jobs across the state over 26,000, which is very, very important. From what you can see what we've done, projects we've done in different zones, because all our projects as mandatory, a part of our mandate is we must make sure there is a spread across the zone. Next slide. So this is an example of a project we did in Abuja, a small community that we started off as 40 kilowatts, but now is gone up to 150 kilowatts, because anywhere you have energy access, the first thing that grows is population, because SMEs will spring up, job creation will come up, reliability and sustainability of energy attracts more investment and more economic growth. And that's what happened in this community. Next slide, please. This is another one in the east, Nkano, in the southeast, Nkano local government in Enugu with 100 kilowatts. So this is sort of the sort of project we're proposing for rural communities in Bauchi State. Next slide, please. And this is also in Bende in Abia State. Next slide. And this is an IMAS project, interconnected mini-grid, where we have peri-urban communities that have access but not too much and has the potential for growth. We suggest interconnected mini-grid with the discos, and that's what we did here. And you can see the capacity is usually higher because they have already present of a distribution network that's very reliable, but transmission of power to such networks are usually very low. So with the presence of a mini-grid, it makes it easier. And this community has grown from even 395 kilowatts to almost 800 kilowatts to almost 800 kilowatts right now. Next slide. This is in Niger State. This is 1.5 megawatts as we speak. It's no longer 990 kilowatts. This is in Lambata in Niger State. Next slide. Yeah, so examples of some of the projects that's ongoing in Bauchi State. We have a community called Dalaji Community in Ningi local government. It's a small community, so SHS is being deployed to that state as we speak. SHS meaning solar home systems. Next slide. This is a completed project in Zinderi community with 100 kilowatts and over 600 connections. Next slide. So with all those slides that I've shown, they are all pilots, and that is what gave us the impetus, if you will, to scale, because we got a request from federal government that we should actually be able to reduce this issue of no access to light, especially in the rural communities where you have over 90 million people living without access to energy. And the only way we can close that gap is to increase our participation by increasing the number of mini-grids and creating a better energy mix for Nigeria. So we looked at it and decided if we provide electricity just for households, we're not really making any impact. And if we provide only for primary healthcare centers, we're even more limited. So we examined the rural communities and came up with 5 components that really impact on the lives of the rural dwellers, and what can we do to catalyze this? The only thing we can do is to give access to energy and to make it a one-stop shop, a turnkey project that will, change effectively what is going on in each of these benefiting communities. So we coined a project called the E-HEART, E being the energy driving these components, H for health, E for education, agriculture, rural community itself, and transportation via e-mobility. And we broke down what the impact will be. So you can see we'll have uninterrupted electricity for 3,700 communities, because we're actually doing 100 communities per state, but we're doing it in phases. We'll get to that later on. So we're going to have uninterrupted electricity, clean energy from renewable energy sources, power, medical equipment, vaccine refrigeration that will be provided for the, improving the shelf life of vaccines, boreholes, solar boreholes, and street lights for also the primary healthcare centers. We'll have digital learning tools for e-learning. Your Excellency, I'm sure you heard on the news recently, where Minister of Education announced that they're going to phase out the usage of blackboard and chalks across come 2027. So we're actually being proactive. We are leading in that sector on what should be done. So we already couched what we want to do before they announced it, so we're right on time. So we're going to be doing that. And because most of the communities in Nigeria, like the MD said, are all agrarian communities, we will definitely be impacting on the farmers by providing solar powered water pumps for irrigation, and also solar powered cold storage for preserving the shelf life of their produce to reduce post-harvest loss. The rural community in general will have access to power their households and the SMEs, while transportation will provide solar powered electric tricycles, EV charging stations, and solar batteries to make it easier to power their tricycles. All of this, we had done a study, and knowing that with the problem of fuel keep going on in Nigeria, and also having access to it is almost difficult for the villagers, the best solution to mitigate this problem on transportation is e-transportation. So you ask me, what is the benefit that Bauchi will get from this? You get an opportunity to provide electricity for 25 communities, because in the first phase of that 3,700, which is 100 communities per state, we'll be doing 25 communities first. And each of the community you have access to, for the whole 25 communities, you have access to 2.5 megawatts of electricity, improving the security of the state, job creation, like I said earlier. And the MD also pointed out increase in IGR. It will give them opportunity to unlock the economic potentials, catalyzing rural economies and the entire ecosystem of such communities. Next slide, please. So the business model we are adopting, Excellency, is the PPP model, where participation is with REA, state governments, and the RESCOs. So REA will be leading the project, leading the project coordination, planning, and execution, developing legal frameworks, because some states already have their own electricity policies in place. So to make it easier to have a synergy between state electricity policy and national policy, REA will be providing that leadership. We'll create a one-stop shop to coordinate all permits and approvals where necessary, and most importantly, sustainability plan to ensure the lifespan of such mini-grid. You can call people who provide EPC to build mini-grid for you, but how sustainable is it? When it goes by, who do you call? Most of them don't even live in your state, like the MD pointed out. But with our plan for sustainability, which my colleague will expatiate on, you will see why it is better to partner with REA to protect not only your investment, but actually to achieve what you started to do, which is improving access to electricity to your rural communities. So this participation of state government in this project will be for you to provide site selections, which we have given geospatial site selection as a heads up, and said this is the sample that we have, because we have from our research over 150,000 communities across Nigeria that needs access to electricity. So we narrow it down state by state, and we pick 25 and give it to each state. Every state in Nigeria has their own site selection provided by us, but you're not tied to it because it must have a spread across all the senatorial zones. So what we tell them, like what we're telling them today, is study, you should have studied the sites by now, and give us your input in addition to what we've given you, and send it back to us as part of your contribution. Also, if there's any renovating or retrofitting to be done, that is to be done by state, but we always tell them to provide us with functional PACs or functional schools, because REA is not in the business of renovation or doing construction work that is not related to renewable energy. So it's better to give us schools or PACs that are ready to receive this access to energy. Also to make sure there's security on ground, and most importantly, community engagement, community sensitization. The communities need to be sensitized and have the community buy-in before we come in with the solar solutions. The RESCOs, like I said, is the PPP. The RESCOs will participate through competitive procurement to deploy these energy solutions. They'll partner with local businesses for logistics, develop efficient supply chain to ensure timely delivery of equipment. And NEPA has taken light. Okay? See, this is why you should have clean energy. Reliable. NEPA never takes our light. Okay, here we are. So they will develop efficient supply chain to ensure timely delivery of this equipment and promote productive use of equipment. Next slide. So for the financial model, Your Excellency, REA will be giving grants, 60%. If I were a governor, I don't see why I would not sign up with this program. 60% grant. You're not paying it back, Your Excellency. Need I say more? You know, this is the project to be with. 60% grant, only 30%, meaning for every 1 million a project is costing, REA will provide 600,000. State will provide only 300,000, and you get to keep the project. Ours is to ensure that there's access to energy in your communities. While the RESCOs, of course, will provide their own 10%. Next slide, please. So what is our target? Our target is to impact on 3,700 communities with mini-grids, either off-grid or interconnected where it is necessary, where we also bring in the discos to the table of discussion to add their own input. The most important thing is to make sure there's access to energy. We are going to be infusing 370 megawatts, Your Excellency, of pure, clean energy, reliable energy solutions that does not blink. Most likely 24 hours, even if it's going to shut down, maybe an hour or two. I don't know what could be more giving than this project. Communities, I've said that. Direct impact, we are going to connect over 7 million households, and from our research, this will impact on over 43 million Nigerians. And carbon reduction, which is very, very important to us as a country because we are signatory to net zero emission come 2060. Carbon emission over 1.5 million tons of CO2 to be reduced. Next slide, please. So each community, this is what they will be getting. All right, now. What's going on today? This has never happened. Yeah. So this is what each community will be getting, Your Excellency. The small e is the energy that is driving the entire process. And without that small e, none of this will happen. That is to tell you how important that e energy is. So for health, like I said, they'll be getting vaccine boxes, cooling boxes for the vaccines. They'll have solar borehole, education, digital learning tools. Yesterday, we were able to showcase the sort of vaccine cooling box that we have. We're able to showcase the digital learning tools we're talking about. I've enumerated all of this, and 25 communities in each state will get access to this. Next slide, please. So, like the MD said, this is part, a geospatial of some of the communities in your state. Zindiwa community. You can see how the breakdown. In MD's presentation, he told you that even the economic potentials, we know them. We know what each community is good at. And there you have it. This community, for example, is sitting on a total crop value of over $800,000 per year. And $800,000 in Nigerian money is not small. Health facility here is one, so they will benefit from the EHAT project, and so with the education facilities there. Next slide. Same thing here. I'm trying to hurry up. Here you have economic potential of over $1 million in Jimin community. Next slide. Is there any more? So that is my presentation, Your Excellency. As you can see today, like I said, we met with all the commissioners. I don't know if Bauchi commissioners were there. You guys were there? Oh, great. You know, so we are already at the level where state steering committees have been formed. We're talking about procurement processes. We've discussed the legal frameworks. We've talked about, today, yeah. We've talked about the components and participation. And Your Excellency, the level where we are right now is funding. I don't think Bauchi State has, you know, made its own letter for state, financial state readiness to us, but I'm sure you have. Oh, great. That's wonderful, because I know he's a progressive leader, so I am sure. So thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you for your time.
Be careful. Thank you so much, ED Ref, Engineer Doris Ubo, for that presentation. Your Excellency, sir, it's obvious from Engineer Doris' presentation that the REA is ready and set for further engagements with the Bauchi State government. Considering that we just concluded the EHAT workshop today, which was very successful, we'll continue to advance these engagements with the state government. I would like to now invite Engineer Umar, the Executive Director, Technical Services, for his presentation.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, members of the Bauchi State Executive Council, my elder brother, the MD CEO of REA, my colleagues, EDs, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on all existing protocol. Before I begin with my slides, I think the MD said he will give our contact numbers to the Executive Governor. But I think, sir, I have a better suggestion. I think instead of giving our numbers, I would just like to give Your Excellency a clue. He said one of us had about $750 million, and we all know dollar is an international currency. So amongst us, Your Excellency, if you check, you see one of us that is there dressed nicely with a very foreign suit, with a foreign tie, with a foreign haircut. To Your Excellency, I think just grab that person. We don't need to give his number. You know who has that money. Your Excellency, I have about 5 slides. It's a very short and direct presentation. Mostly I'll concentrate on 2 slides. But before I commence, Your Excellency, this is about the 18th or 19th roundtable we're having, we've had with different state governments. And in the course of this presentation, sometimes we've had governors that have had experience in the National Assembly. But Your Excellency, what is more unique about yourself is not just that you're also part of the National Assembly in the past, but you also worked in the power sector for about a decade. And Your Excellency, I myself have not been in the power sector for up to 10 years. So probably you know everything that I'm going to present. But please, with your permission, can I go ahead and present? Even if it's not for you, but for every other person, since I know you know most of our presentations. Next slide, please. Your Excellency, this is just a breakdown of the projects we do at the agency over the years, from grid extension to mini grids to productive use equipment and solar home system. And Your Excellency, without repeating what we've done over the years, I'll concentrate on 2 key projects that we are presently executing at the REA. One is the National Public Sector Solarization Initiative, under which, Your Excellency, we are going to solarize 26 critical public institutions, including federal polytechnics, medical colleges across the country. In fact, it includes the National Hospital, a security agency such as the DSS, the ICPC, and Your Excellency, in fact, even the Budget Office. I joke sometimes to the MD that if something is meant to go wrong with the mini-grid at the Budget Office, Your Excellency, maybe 2026 will not have any budget. So it just shows the critical work we're doing and the impact. And Your Excellency, the scope of this work is the construction of solar power plants. Mostly we've already done the audit. We've begun this project. When we're doing the audit, we've gotten different experiences from institutions that have a lot of land for PV mounting and deployment to those that have hardly any land, whereby we had to use technology such as carport mounting or rooftop technology, amongst others. And also beyond that, we deploy all other, of course, components, rehabilitation of the distribution infrastructure, when needed, street lighting, metering, and also SCADA system for monitoring. Your Excellency, another project we are doing, which is very dear to us, is under the Renewed Hope Development Fund, whereby we are solarizing 8 universities. These are legacy universities, the oldest in the country, including Ahmadu Bello University, University of Lagos, Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Federal University Dutse, Federal University Taraba, Wukari, amongst and 2 others. So, Your Excellency, these are very critical to us. We have also, in the past, Your Excellency, we've deployed a mini-grid at the ATBU, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University. This was commissioned in 2021. We mentioned this, Your Excellency, because we met a lot of challenges. This was done under the first phase of the Energizing Education program under the REA. And on the completion of this project, there were some challenges. And the challenges, what we learned from these challenges is actually went in as input to the success of the subsequent projects we are doing after that. Just to summarize the challenges we faced, Your Excellency, it includes, there was a technical issue. We had a lot of faulty power conversion systems, which because of that, there was no synchronization between the power coming from the PV panels and the power coming from the batteries. But we've fitted this in our subsequent designs. And also presently, there's a framework, O&M sustainability framework, to ensure that after these projects are deployed, who is responsible for operation and maintenance and replacement of equipment when needed. Next slide. Your Excellency, these are just pictures from projects that we've successfully commissioned in Bauchi State. You can see the REA has supported over 300 farmers with solar-powered irrigation pumps across the years, some mini-grids, some grid extension projects, and you can see the statistics actually on the right. These are just few of the projects we've done in the last few years. Next slide. No, the slide before, please, sorry. Your Excellency, this is also a slide that just summarizes our technical standards. For all our projects in REA, there's a technical standards that supersedes what is being deployed. And briefly going through them, we have some standards for interconnection standards. For instance, we have some components that treats anti-islanding. And Your Excellency, when we're talking about anti-islanding, this is where you have different sources of power from the national grid, for instance, and from the mini grid, be it the PV panel or the battery. So whenever there's a fault, this could also spoil equipment or cause a lot of issues. And Your Excellency, it could also be very, very hazardous. You can imagine a fault that shows you maybe there's no power in a line. While in actual sense, there's no power from the grid, but maybe there might be power coming from the panel or from the battery. So this can actually execute personnel on site. But Your Excellency, we thank God, we've not had any issue of any electrification of any personnel. And I'm sure if we did, when our MD approached you, I'm sure you will not even agree to meet REA. You will say these people that like electrifying people with their mini grids. We have standards, Your Excellency, also for power generation. We have different type of PV panels. We have monocrystalline, polycrystalline panels. Panels are all made up of silicon, and it's based on the arrangement of these silicons that we have the different types. But our standards have shown that some types of panels are more durable, they do better in hot weather, and some also are not as good in conserving energy in cloudy weather. So we also ensure the use of monocrystalline and high efficiency panels in our projects. We've also had standards for storage over the years. We also have standards for electric vehicles and charging. Under this, we mostly have standards for the charging points and the charging swap stations. Also same for smart systems and for security and safety. We can go to the next slide. Your Excellency, this is just a summary of the type of technologies that are potentially possible in Bauchi State. Bauchi State has very high level of irradiation, sun levels, so this is very ideal for solar and mini grids. Also regarding wind energy, there are some places that have very high wind potentials. About 10% of locations in Bauchi is something that we could co-develop together with the state government. Also for small hydro, I'm sure the state government is doing a lot of that. There's also potential on that. Next slide. Your Excellency, the summary are these are just different minerals that are available in huge reserves in the state. Some of them, for instance, lithium is used to make lithium batteries. Lithium is an element that has the capacity to store energy. Some like kaolin, like gypsum, are used in making PV panels. So if all these minerals are used for manufacturing and exploited, Your Excellency, this will also aid in crystallizing into manufacturing of some of these components as well. Next slide. The last slide, Your Excellency, the potential areas of collaboration between us and Bauchi State has to do with joint project development. Presently, we are developing a project with your neighbor, Your Excellency, Gombe State, on a small hydro we are doing together with them. We can also collaborate in terms of capacity building and also sharing our harmonized technical standards. Next slide. Your Excellency, my presentation is usually the shortest, but always the most concise. So once more, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Engineer Umar, for your presentation. Your Excellency, sir, we equally have ready the harmonized technical standards, which we will be sharing a copy with you, sir, for your reading pleasure. Quickly, I would like to invite the head Nigeria Electrification Program, Olufemi Akiyelure, for his presentation.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, a lot has been said, a lot has been alleged, but may I crave your indulgence, Your Excellency? Let's go with what our MD has said to present our numbers. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, once again. Not to go over what everybody has said, the Nigeria Electrification Program is a program under the REA that is funded by the World Bank and the AFDB. And what is different with what you've heard so far with the plethora of types of projects that we do is just the model in which we implement these projects. Please go to the next 2 slides. So just as I've said, we've had the first World Bank program, which was a 350 million program, which we deployed over 200 mini grids, over 1 million solar home systems deployed, and we deployed interconnected solar hybrid power plants in 7 universities and 2 teaching hospitals. Of that, we have, under the AFDB, another 8 universities coming on board, Your Excellency, and those installations are already operational as we speak today. These are just examples of all the different areas that we intervene under the different funding windows that we have. Next slide. So how do we do what we do? A lot of this you've already heard already in terms of identifying demand in different communities, offering the required support to the developers, which includes offering the grants and ensuring that there's the enabling environment for them to deploy these systems. Subsidy disbursements, which we typically do under the Nigeria Electrification Program. We offer these subsidies to cover a viability gap that we see, to ensure that the projects are affordable, because we do not believe in free, anything free really is not sustainable. So we want to ensure that, as you know, with your experience, Your Excellency, you would understand that cost-reflective tariffs are too expensive in these communities. So we believe that with the grant support, those tariffs should be able to come down to an affordable level. The next line is about the long-term sustainability, and this is where we speak about our local citizens, training, equipping them with the knowledge they require to troubleshoot these systems, or ensuring that OEMs also have service centers even in country, so that whenever there's a downtime, you don't have to be waiting for someone to fly all the way from China, Europe, or whatever. They have those service centers in country for that. And also through our interventions, Your Excellency, we've seen springing up a lot of solar panel assembly plants in Nigeria at the moment, one of which was announced that one company had already started exporting even to Ghana of recent. So these are the different results that we are seeing from this ecosystem. Next slide, please. Ultimately, Your Excellency, what is really at the core of what we do is what we call the results-based financing model. So when we say that we offer these grants, we ensure that the project is actually delivered and verified before you can access the grant. So it's not a situation where you can get the funds and then you just go and deploy just anything, because at the end of the day, the system remains the private sector's own to run for that period of time. Next slide, please. And just to show you an idea, give you an idea, a snippet of how this works. From application, a lot of the RESCOs here are aware of this, and a lot of, I'm sure the commissioners would have had some experience on this platform. Everything we do, Your Excellency, is done on an online platform. So there's little or no human interference or intervention when it comes to this. As far as your criteria, the criteria we've set out, technical, environmental, financial is adhered to. You go through this process from application to approvals to grant signing to raising the financing and ensuring that the services are deployed to the communities. Next 2 slides, please. Next slide. So as I said earlier, Your Excellency, we had a great success from the first program. We were able to deploy over 100 megawatts, but our goal in this new program is to ensure we have over 500 megawatts injected into the power sector of Nigeria through this off-grid decentralized projects, reaching out to over 17 million Nigerians, Your Excellency. Next slide. We have also learned some critical lessons in addition to those that I've just mentioned, and one I'll just highlight on this slide so we move very quickly is about productive use, which you've also heard about. We believe that in any community you go into, power must stimulate an economy. Power must stimulate some form of productive activity. It helps the sustainability of the system. It helps the locals to be able to even afford the power in itself. And if you put this in targeted areas, whether it's agrarian communities for food security, whether it's to ensure transportation, you cure this transportation poverty because subsidies have been removed and a lot of transports, is so much more expensive. So we are bringing in things like e-mobility into this project to ensure that we cater to those particular areas where the pain is really for the last mile communities. Next slide, please. So on this slide, Your Excellency, I'll focus mainly on the subnational intervention. This shows just an array of all the projects we do, but critical to this, and part of the reasons why we are here is also around this subnational intervention project. The MD mentioned the new Electricity Act and how the states now have more powers over the electricity market. But one thing we realized was that if every single state now has their own regulation, mini-grid regulation, it will cause chaos, Your Excellency, you understand. All the gains we've made in the market essentially will just erode within a day. So it was essential for us to ensure that there's that level of collaboration within states, and we're also able to offer technical assistance because not all states have the same resources. So we've come up with a certain set of criteria that every state will comply by and would ensure that we give the required assistance for you to be able to engage and comply with those criteria. And once that criteria is complied by, we're able to offer dedicated interventions into the health and education sectors within the states. And I'm sure the MD would also speak about certain studies that would need to be done towards this. Next slide, please. Next slide. So speaking directly to what the barriers are really to these projects, I think the first thing here would be to mention around the regulatory barriers, which I've mentioned as well, ease of doing business generally, and this is what I'm sure the renewable energy companies will tell you. How long does it take to get the permits? And land, access to land also is also very critical, Your Excellency. The states are the closest to communities on the ground, so it's always important that we create that enabling environment to access the land we require. Financing is also another area, but to just get to community sensitization, which I think is the most important. They have to pay for these services, and they have to know, the quality of what they are paying for at the end of the day. Next slide, please. So we have a few projects, just like the MD has mentioned, in a few communities, isolated mini-grids over the years that we've deployed. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. I would focus also on the healthcare initiatives. These were 2 50-kilowatt systems that were deployed in Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Teaching Hospital, Bauchi, and General Hospital, Bayero, Bauchi, and are currently operational and have been operational for a while based off of the interventions that we've carried out. The next few slides, Your Excellency, just focuses on pictures in those various communities that we've discussed so far. The MD mentioned about ongoing projects. Under the DES is already open, Your Excellency. We've already started seeing a lot of traffic from the energy service companies, and just as the MD has mentioned, we're seeing traffic of over about 31 projects so far, interest from people in energy service companies in Bauchi State, and we hope that this can be increased based off of these collaborations as we go along. That would be the end of my presentation this afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for listening.